New Zealand's good name has been dragged into the mud of ugly, intolerant, leftist violence. In the end, though, none of this has much bearing on what happened at the Albert Park or the public meetings to argue the ugliness of Maori co-governance and its already failures. A visit to this country was prevented from speaking and made to fear for her life by violent bullies. She had her free speech rights violated, and the New Zealand woke joke police were actually nowhere to be seen. We also had a New Zealand citizen drowned out from speaking his views of Maori co-governance by an ugly, ill-informed bunch of Maori thugs and their plastic Maori supporters at public meetings. Even more shamefully, New Zealand Human Rights Commissioner stood shoulder to shoulder with a hateful, dangerous mob of woman-bashing malcontents. Yes, this Human Rights Commissioner thingy thing has also been dumbed down by the extreme Maori who showed up with their thugs at meetings to prevent New Zealand discussing and debating the frightening future under co-governance and a Maori partnership. But Aotearoa is not generally a liberal democracy. That fact has been brutally demonstrated to the world after a vicious lynch mob screamed, spat out and beat a group of women who tried to exercise their rights to free speech. And this Paul Hunt, Aotearoa's New Zealand's Human Rights Commissioner, is right on the side of these dangerous, dim-witted, law-breaking thugs. He actually said he attended the pro-trans rally because he wanted to demonstrate support for trans friends, colleagues and communities. What a load of verbal nonsense uttered by that Paul Hunt. I must check that spelling of Hunt. I truly believe a C is missing. At any rate, he's generated a very, very simple question. Are women free to speak their minds in New Zealand? The trans lynch mob answered that one with their fists and boots while you stood there adoring your thuggish trans friends and their associates. One thing has been achieved by the Trannie movement and their disgusting jackboot behaviour is now that any time a decent New Zealander now spots a rainbow flag or a multicoloured pedestrian crossing, yes, we decent New Zealanders have learnt what that symbol actually stands for. It will now bring out the negativity in any intelligent individual the same way what that Maori flag generates. You know, that Maori flag with its black and red background and a streak of white snot across its centre. Maori culture was even more brutally gender segregated than Western culture when it arrived here in New Zealand. Misappropriating the old Maori word for close friend of the same sex doesn't change that. All it shows that without A.C. Hunt, the Human Rights Commissioner is of a stunted, coarse type of modern mind that is unable to distinguish between philos and eros. He probably thinks even that Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck were gay as well. And you can't have an each-way bet. Either free speech is free or it isn't. If someone exercise of free speech offends someone else, well, tough bloody titties. If you want to be a voting citizen in a democracy, you have to put on your big boy's pants and deal with the fact that not everyone else is going to agree with you. Some will even call you mean names, so suck it up, sucker. The lefty brainwashed Labour Liberals say that the antidote of free speech sometimes works, but sometimes it doesn't. That is absolute bloody bollocks. It works every time. Name one time free speech wasn't an answer to someone else's free speech. Just name one time. Yes, just one time, because the people shouting down free speech, they were never the good guys. So let's remember that New Zealand was once a lovely, nice place to live. Since the illiterate mob of lefty, Labour, Liberal malcontents and the nincompoop brigade started referring to this land as Aotearoa, what a nasty, despicable, awful place this wonderful country has now become.